trying to trying to update my bloody iTunes store.
Wow. The following presentation is brought to you by Asylum Wargaming. For an additional 5% discount, use the discount code Andy2D6. Remington.
I approve of, and I have a song.
It's about damn time.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show Tuesday night. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. Talking about the Silver Tower and everything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on a Tuesday night. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. Talking about Sigmar and everything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, even I know the rules. And I approve of this message.
I'm not sure you deserve full applause after that flawless opening there, Mr. Remington.
We had a network timeout.
Remington plus technology equals failure. We found this out numerous times over the last almost year. I think this is about episode 48, isn't it? So we're closing in on the 1-year anniversary of the Andy and Rem Show, your one-stop shop for all things Age of Sigmar, fantasy wargaming, and now, of course, Warhammer Quest, an offshoot of Age of Sigmar, naturally, which is going to be the main talking point this week as more details have emerged. So before we say hello to the audience, how's it going over there, Mr. Remington, in Remtown?
I'm stressfully, fantastically busy at work. After being on tour for 2 weeks, I have uncovered a backlog of things that needed to be done yesterday and will not be done until tomorrow, at least. So yeah, I'm stressed out here. So I'm looking for some light relief. And talking about light relief, you're looking fantastic, Andy.
I am actually. I'm looking quite delicious, if I do say so myself. The hair's not getting any less luxurious as time goes on, is it?
I mean, even I'm tempted to stroke your hair. That's okay.
Well, I don't know if you can do it from there, but you would have the opportunity this Friday, as a matter of fact, when we are going to be creating a battle report. Maybe 2, definitely 1 at least.
That's right. We're going to see the return of Remington's famous dice rolls and Andy's bending of the rules.
I'm not sure it's really bending of the rules. It's more like I apply the rules correctly. It's just that you're not entirely aware of how the rules are supposed to be. So the vision that you have of the rules in your mind then becomes bent because I've translated it for you.
That's
how it is in reality.
Well, back to this 1-year anniversary thing, right? What we're going to do, we're going to celebrate, perhaps. I'm sure there'll be more discounts and freebies for you, won't they?
Quite possibly. Yeah. I'm sure a couple of them will trickle down to you eventually. That's how these things work.
Trickle down. More like drip down.
Let's have a look at the audience and see who's in here in the infamous active users list. It's quite a beastly one this week. We've got Andrew Wade, Bazooka J Rambo, Darkbeard89. That's quite a name. Drunken Deer, Gloomdready Gaming, I Don't Know 46, Christopher82, Cryo Kinesi, Luke Atkinson, Mickey Genver, Mr. Colour Crayons, Orky Dorky Crew, Oscar Dahlstrom, Peachy and Danny, Peltheron, Ramvi Ratface, Rhino of Pleasure, Ronnie Dodd, That Guy 513, The Stronghold, and of course Newbie. And I've just seen Graham Rigg in there and Dino Titan Edition. I don't think I said that name yet. So a few interesting new names in there this week.
There's some delicious new names there, Andy.
Some of them are bordering on delicious, at least, aren't they?
It must be your new A-list stylish status doing that, right?
I don't think there's anything new about that. So, shall we dive straight in then?
What you got?
Well, first of all, let's again look at this beautiful image. Look at that beautiful, totally not Photoshop, posed for image. I had to climb into that costume.
I love it. Look at that ethnic Warhammer, like, what do you call them? Personalities? Characters. Yes. It's about time, isn't it?
Indeed. What I should have done really spent more than 1 minute on Photoshop and actually like altered the skin tone a bit so it matched your face. But never mind, it's close enough. Look at this.
Oh, look at that.
Silver Tower. All over Games Workshop.
This looks like a lot of fun, man. Looking forward to this.
Well, look at this. £95 apparently. Although, through our good friends at Asylum Wargaming, you can find it significantly cheaper than that, especially with the additional Andy 2D6 discount code.
That's correct. By the way, if you try and put Remington in there, you may not get a discount, but if you try it enough times, it might eventually happen.
Yeah, if you demand that they add a Remington discount code as well, they may well do it.
Demand it. Let me tell you something about visualization. It works.
Well, look at that. 2 to 4 players in a shifting labyrinthine lair of a sinister, gaunt summoner. A little history bit there. Nice picture of the summoner with a flaming book. Stabbing the flaming book, actually. Hashtag stab the flaming book. Let's get that trending. There's a list of everything that's in the box right there on the Games Workshop website. So you get a ton of models in there. If you were buying all these models separately, you would pay more than that £95, definitely, because each one of those heroes go for about £18 at least, don't they?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, 15 to 18 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds. So let's call it around 18 pounds.
Yeah, and there's 6 of them.
6 times 18 is 60, and then 6 times 8 is it's 48. 48 times 60. No, plus 60.
Basically, you'd expect to pay the price of the full game just for the 6 heroes, pretty much.
Yeah, something like that.
So all that extra stuff in there as well, obviously. And they've got some nice pictures of the heroes up on there. You've loved the little Griffhound, haven't you?
I love that Griffhound. I mean, there's some nice comments coming in here. If you put the Remington code in, you get your orders delivered by a choice of hot blondes or brunettes. Nice. What about hot blondes and brunettes? Even better.
At the same time, they've got a little video there which we're not going to play because they'll probably have this stricken from the internet forever.
Now, I noticed this book, this $9.99 book, and I'm tempted to get that, and I'm hoping it's got a little bit more intrigue than some of the more recent Warhammer Age of Sigmar books, which are kind of, I don't know. I still haven't gotten through the Fireslayer one. There's something about that book that's just, it was like reading Lord of the Rings as an 11-year-old. You read a couple of pages, then you fall asleep, and then you kind of, the next night, you try and read the next page, but you have to go back 2 pages because you can't quite remember.
Does it waffle on a bit?
It doesn't, I don't know.
Does it not move very fast?
New names and the kind of, I don't know, I want like a decent story.
You want characters you can connect with, and you haven't felt that they've delivered that so far. Is that more like it?
Exactamundo.
Well, I think that could be something they'd address in this game in particular, where all the focus is just on a small ragtag band of heroes. When I say ragtag, they are still quite glorious, aren't they, in their own right? I mean, look at them, not exactly homeless or wearing rags.
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, what if, you know, the kind of backstory to the kind of, what's the guy in the golden armor called? The Sigmarine guy. All right, what if, you know, he's plodding along and he kind of does really well, and at the end he takes his mask off and he's actually an orc? What about that kind of intrigue? That's what I'm talking about.
That would be pretty amusing, actually. If he took off his mask and he was anything other than just a human. That would be interesting, at least. Then what else have we got? Well, there's the app as well to create hero. We already knew about all this. So, I assume you've watched the short videos they've had on Warhammer TV about this.
Yeah, it looks top production quality, as always. And
So,
I'm looking forward to not just the characters, but some of the little all the baddies you get with this. All those little flamers and those spider gobbos.
Well, we're going to look at some interesting war scrolls for all of those in a bit. But speaking to people that actually sampled the delights of the Silver Tower at Warhammer Fest, it seems to be very much what Age of Sigmar is to the more traditional war game. How Age of Sigmar took it in a much more casual direction, with an emphasis on entertainment rather than... There is strategy in there, but that's not the main focus, and it feels like this has done that same thing for the dungeon crawler. There's a big focus on crazy things happening, and it all being very fun, rather than necessarily balanced. What do you think about that? Does that tickle your fancy?
Not when you say it in that long sentence, but when you just say tickle your fancy, yeah.
Okay, so it tickles your fancy.
Yeah.
So, from what we've seen of the gameplay and from what I've heard from people, the various mechanics, there are dice that are in a pool, and then you kind of share them between the whole party to enable you to use certain abilities that you roll at the beginning of each turn, effectively. And if you get high numbers, that's going to allow you to unlock and use your more potent abilities in that turn. And then maybe you'll have one character in the party who has an ability that's going to really come in handy that turn, so you'll say, okay, you can take the dice that came up with a 6 this time. Is that making sense to you?
I like it.
So it forces you to cooperate, at least. And the dungeons, it's not all laid out beforehand, it's randomly generated with cards and such. And the monsters randomly generated. I know you don't have a vast amount of experience with dungeon crawlers, but do you like the idea of the whole dungeon being laid out before you, or do you like the idea of not knowing what's around the next corner and fate deciding?
I think if time's not an issue, I like fate deciding. If time's an issue, I'm just thinking you've got like an hour and a half, then maybe just lay it all out so you can just see what's coming ahead of you. But I like not knowing myself. And on top of that, I was thinking, Andy, what excites me about this is the ability to create your own heroes. And that could mean having an Andy 2D6 hero or a Remington hero. I mean, what would it take to actually get GW to create their models?
To get them to create the models, I think it would take a lot. To get somebody else to sculpt the models wouldn't be nearly as difficult. And then just either create our own rules or go into their little app and see what the options are like in there.
I think that is something to visualize for this time next year. All right, maybe we could have models of yourself and myself and some of the A-list subscribers on this site. How about that?
Well, we'll have to kickstart it in a few months after people's wallets have refilled after the Cheeks campaign, obviously.
Just thinking about some of your special abilities.
Oh dear. Okay, there's one for your audience. Special rules for either the Andy Warhammer Quest character or the Remington Warhammer Quest character, and keep them clean if you don't mind.
Andy has got a ghastly whale special ability where he kind of starts singing and people run away from the dungeon immediately.
The ghastly whale. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there, Mr. Remington. So, the next thing we're going to look at... we have over here, on this particular website, on the old Bell of Lost Souls, they've got some sneak peeks into the next White Dwarf, which had some of the war scrolls. You can see that all these heroes are very usable in Age of Sigmar. So if you wanted to buy this game but you weren't necessarily sure if you're going to be able to play it very often, you can use all these heroes in your regular games of Age of Sigmar as well. The rules are out there in White Dwarf, and I would assume they'll be up for download as well at some point.
Cool, mate. Hey, I had a rumour that you can buy more hero. Is that right? You buy more hero cards?
Well, there is kind of an expansion that comes with some of the existing hero models from the range. Like, I think it's the Knight of Xeros was in it. So it's a good way for them to generate extra sales of those plastic individual characters for Age of Sigmar.
Ah.
Making them available to use in the Silver Tower as well. But just to give you a little taste, let's have a look at a couple of these war scrolls to see how these guys actually measure up. I think we may have seen one or two of these before. So let's have a look at, as an example, let's look at the Tenebrial Shard, shall we? So a move of 8, so it's pretty damn fast. And how fast are your Dark Elves right now for Age of Sigmar? They're not that fast, are they?
Movement 5?
Yeah, certainly not 8. So if this is the way Elves are going, that's going to be interesting. 5 plus save, bravery, 8, 5 wounds, pretty standard there. Attacks, bladed barbs, 6 attacks, 4 plus 4 plus, not bad. And the Reaper gauntlets, 2 attacks, 3 plus 3 plus, -1 and D3 damage, so pretty tasty. They're not going to be obscenely powerful because they are just on foot. They're not riding giant monsters or on any kind of cavalry. So I think, by the looks of it, they're just your pretty standard hero that you would get in the little pack for about £18, aren't they? In terms of power level.
Yeah.
Little Griffhound there. Should we have a look at his rules? If it's the same as the other Griffhound, I suppose we don't need to, but let's just have a look anyway because he's funny. Attacks 2, 3 plus 4 plus, not much at all, but he does have special rules. Loyal Companion. Once a Griffhound, I don't know why I keep calling it a Grift Hound, has bonded with a companion, it will defend them to the death. A Griffhound makes 4 attacks with its beak and claws rather than 2 if the target unit is within 3 inches of a Lord Castellant. Okay, so yeah, that does just look like the same scroll, doesn't it then? Even though it's with him. And he does not count as a Lord Castellant.
Have you got a spell?
Well, it's funny you should say that. He has a couple of spells, it would appear. So, Light of Sigmar. I hope people are impressed that I can read this tiny text, by the way. Your hero phase, the War Priest, can hold his Book of Sigmar teachings up high and pray to the God King for aid. If you do so, roll a dice. On 3 or more, pick the War Priest or a unit within 10 inches. If you pick the friendly unit, it heals 1 wound. The War Priest and friendly order units heal D3 wounds. And they heal D3 wounds instead. If you picked an enemy unit, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Or if they're chaos, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. Okay.
Kind of reminds me of, remember that old arcade game Gauntlet? Where you've got the wizard, the barbarian, the elf, and what's it called? Not Valkyrie, is it? It's kind of a mixture.
Yes, that would have been one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a mixture between a priest and a warrior. So it's kind of like, it reminds you of that, really.
And he's got divine power. And Excelsior War Priest can attempt to unbind 1 spell. Okay, that's not particularly exciting. And he has his loyal companion, his Griffhound, and you can immediately set up 1 Griffhound within 3 inches of him. If you do so, the Griffhound is bound to the Excelsior War Priest. The Griffhound that is bound to him makes 4 attacks with its beak and claws rather than 2. Okay, so yeah, it's just saying that it actually does have its special rule applied when it's with him as well. So it's worth having it as a little friend. Isn't that sweet?
It'd be even sweeter if there's a little halfling riding on it. That's sweet.
Yeah, that is something we've been calling for, more halflings. But yeah, all these look very tasty, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Certainly worth throwing in there into a game of Age of Sigmar. I'd like to try this guy out, for example. He's good against enemy heroes. Pretty tasty. So, before we move on, because just to give you a little preview, we've also seen all the war scrolls for the evildoers, which include nice pictures of them all as well. So we'll come back to those in a moment.
Yeah, there's been 360 versions of those. So at first glance, that looked like a kind of a Minotaur, but then when you see the front picture, it's a kind of a hybrid thing.
Well, let's look at some of the special rules people have been suggesting for us, shall we? So, I'm going to have to kind of screen these as I read them just to make sure they're all suitable for broadcast, because you know what some of these audience members are like, don't we?
They're all demented, it's fine. Weird.
So, YouTube newbie. The ever-predictable Rem can summon hot chicks to do his bidding because he's a rock star.
If I wish that was true.
You can always rely on newbie for a comment like that, can't you? Dino Titan Edition. Ability-wise, I'd say Rem would match a Banshee with his voice. That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
That is a bit harsh, man. Come on.
I mean, he's no Andy when it comes to vocal stylings, but he's got some merit.
I think rather than summon chicks, it's more likely to be summon nerds.
We should try that actually at Warhammer World sometime. Get your guitar, just start playing it and see if a flock of nerds gather around. Let's see. Drunken Deer has got an ability for you here. All 1s rolled for action points may be turned to 6s for your actions. I'm not sure how that's themed to Remington exactly, Drunken Deer. I think it's probably just because you roll so many 1s, he's just helping you out a bit there. So he's got your best interests in mind there. MC1 Gamer. Screaming Remington results in an auto -1 to whatever the dice roll actually is.
Now I'm going to try that on Friday when you roll a dice. See if it works.
I'm not sure though. Maybe you can only channel it into your own dice.
No.
And we also had the idea that we might start screaming the name of our patrons when rolling the dice. I think that could certainly get a few more people to sign up if they could hear their name screamed at critical times during the game. Let's see what else we've got. Bazooka J. Rambo. Remington special rule. There's a few too many Rem ones in here, not enough Andy ones. All the dice rolls are counted as 6s. Oh, here's an Andy special rule. A boulder-sized orange can be conjured on a 6. And it rolls ahead and flattens a Zinchian model. Okay. Bazooka J. Rambo, on a roll of a 1, the whole party is turned into an orange. I'll take that. Let's see. Master Dwalin. Andy can paint D3 boars in each hero phase. Yeah, I did paint a couple of delicious piggies. Let's see. Any more? Eric Stockbridge. A Rem model should have a special ability to stun the opponent with his silky hair. They lose all attacks for a round when they stare lovingly upon his lustrous locks.
I like it.
I don't know if your locks can really compete with mine at the moment. Look at this.
Yeah, that's definitely an improvement. Yeah, leave it like that. Can you tie it? I bet you can tie it back. Have you tried that yet?
I probably could, but I daren't.
Why?
It might lose some of its luxury.
Oh, you'd look more elfin, wouldn't you? Like a dark elf.
I don't need to look like a dark elf. I just need it to sway in the breeze. It can't be tamed, this hair. It plays by its own rules. It doesn't march to the beat of society's drum.
What does the missus think?
She is a big fan of it, obviously. She's certainly not been demanding a haircut for the last few months.
Nice, man. Sounds like a catch. Wish I could find a nice girl like that.
Anyone in the audience out there? Interested in a lonely Remington, perhaps?
Tumbleweed.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, we've got another one. Dino Titan edition. Andy can summon an orange horror.
Well, I like that.
An orange horror of Zench.
Well, I think this should be one if your spell goes wrong. Maybe all the orange turns to pink. Or turns to a colour you don't like. That'd be nice.
I don't know. The thing is, however much orange I wear, I'm not sure I'd want my hair to be orange.
Why orange, Andy? What's the story behind that?
It's very vibrant, isn't it?
Yeah,
I used to wear just very bland colours for many, many years. And then one day I decided, you know what? I feel like standing out in a crowd from now on. What's the brightest colour I can see? Hey, there's orange. I'll wear that from now on. And now it's my brand.
Yeah, interesting.
It was a conscious life choice.
It's good. Until you get to Holland, then it's kind of normal.
Yeah, I did blend in when I was at the airport in the Netherlands.
Right, is it time for the what the hell is that?
Well, we can actually jump to that in a second, actually. Because, very interestingly this week, there isn't a physical prize, but you will have an honour that we'll describe later in the episode, but it is worth winning, trust me. You'll be able to help us out with something very, very important if you win What the Hell Is That this week. So, while I'm getting it ready, Mr. Remington, would you like to play the What the Hell Is That intro song?
What the hell is that? 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 Only Andy and Remington know. What the hell is that? 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 Only Andy and Remington know.
There you go, folks. What the hell is that? The first one to successfully name all 4 of those models will be the winner, and they'll be able to help us out with that mystery project that will be revealed later on.
Ooh, that bottom left one's tricky. But I think I might have the others.
A couple of them are quite tricky this week. Some of them not so much. I have a feeling at least one of them, everyone pretty much is going to get.
The top right looks nailed on.
It certainly does. So, we've got a stick with some skulls on it. We've got some kind of stripy pattern. We've got some kind of scroll. And we've got a severed head with pointy ears. Where are they from? First one to name all 4 models in a single post will be the winner. So you can't just shout out the name of one of them, folks. That's not going to do you any good. You're just helping the opponents there. Helping your competition out. So while they're digesting, people were showing some support for that song, actually. Do you want to give them another quick rendition of that while they're digesting and guessing away?
What the hell is that? 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 Only Indian Remington know.
Well, let's see, because we've had a few guesses now. Oscar Dahlstrom. Ooh, that's pretty close. Oscar Dahlstrom has got 3 of them correct. Bum, bum, bum. Luke Atkinson, let's see. Oh, he's got 3 correct as well. Getting closer. Let's see. Dino Titan Edition. 3 correct as well.
Which one are they getting wrong?
Well, I'm not going to give that away because that might make it too easy. But I think someone's going to get it any second.
Is the top left one? Can I throw one out there?
I think it is, but I think someone might have got it here.
Malice Darkblade.
I think we have a winner. Let me just check here. Yep, Ronnie Dodd is the winner.
Ronnie Dodd.
Because in the top left we have the Beastman Tuskor Chariot.
Oh, impressive.
Down there we have the Saber Tusk.
Yes.
In the middle we have the Necromancer Staff, of course.
Yes.
And the scroll from the Flagellants.
Ah, I thought that was an old Skaven Plague Bearer thing.
Nope. So Ronnie Dodd, well done to you, and we're going to be referring to you later on in the episode because we're going to need your help over the next week with a top secret project, and it'll be quite an honour for you to be involved in that.
Ronnie Dodd.
Yep, it'll be a great honour indeed.
Ronnie Dodd is a pretty kind of a rock star name, isn't it? You got Mickey Genver, Ronnie Dodd,
Mickey Genver on guitar, Ronnie Dodd on
bass.
Yeah.
Let's
see. Any other names in there that sound very rock star like?
Maybe the manager can be Gloomdreddy.
The manager's a little bit gloomy then.
What about I Don't Know 4-6 for the drummer? Could work.
You're not a fan of drummers then?
Not really. Oscar Dahlstrom. That could be the keyboard player, couldn't it?
Oscar Dahlstrom.
And we've got Ramvi as well. Ramvi maybe can be the kind of the guest sitar player or something. That could work.
Well, boom. Let's look at these bad boys, shall we?
Okay.
So, you'd think that's quite Minotaur-like there, wouldn't you? With the horns. But you were saying that it's not as Minotaur-like as you would think, weren't you?
Gloomdreddy says we're all fired as the manager of the rock band.
Already? What do you think of this guy then? This Ugroid Thaumaturge.
That is not the best angle for that picture. Because when you look at it from the front, it looks amazing. But from the side...
He's trying to look sexy. He's trying to show his behind and his pectorals at the same time.
Yeah, he's kind of like turning round for the camera, isn't he? Just there. It's just caught him.
Like he's walking away and then he just turns back for that final pose.
Now, is it an ogre or is it a minotaur?
Well, it's been corrupted by Zench, so I think it could be somewhere in the middle.
Oh.
Because these are evil and the descriptions are bound to be quite ferocious. I think I should do a couple of readings of these. Combining bestial strength and ferocity with dark occult powers, the ogroid Thaumaturge is a cunning and deadly foe. With snarled invocations, the Thaumaturge hurls roiling blasts of energy into the enemy ranks before stampeding into the midst of his reeling foes to gore and pummel the survivors to bloody ruin. Well, do you think you could possibly live up to that billing?
Well, it's
I don't know.
difficult clawing things with that big staff in his hand, isn't he? You have to put that down.
Yeah, well, let's have a quick look at his rules. So he heals a wound in each hero phase, so that's okay. If he suffered 5 or more wounds, add 1 to all his hit rolls and subtract 1 from his casting and unbinding, because he becomes so angry that he loses some of his magical ability but becomes better at fighting. So that's quite fun. Mighty Bulk, where he completes a charge, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch and just give them D3 mortal wounds for the lols. He's a wizard, and he has a Fire Blast. Casting value of 7, within 18 inches. And that unit suffers D6 mortal wounds, and after it's been inflicted, you can then set up a unit of pink, blue, or brimstone horrors within 1 inch of the target.
Wow, brimstone horrors. Never heard of them before.
Well, you're going to hear of them very shortly.
Yeah, he seems like a beast.
The unit that's created is equal to the number of wounds that was inflicted. So between 1 and 6 of them are going to appear. That's quite tasty, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody hell.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And then his own weapons aren't to be sniffed at either. 2 attacks, 3+3+ with the D3 damage, and then just a plain 3 damage for the 1 Great Horns attack, which has an even better rend. And then the hooves, 4 attacks, but they're not as great.
So I was just thinking, like, none of the characters have shooting attacks, do they? They're all either like close combat or magic.
Well, it seems that way at the moment. But of course, if they were designed with dungeon crawling in mind, then that would make sense, wouldn't it? If you're going from room to room rather than on an open battlefield. But we'll see. What do you think of these guys, these zentrified beastmen?
Zangors. That's a nice name, isn't it? That just rolls off the tongue pretty easy. Zangor. You got a closer look at these guys, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I could zoom in.
Yeah, that's okay. Keep going. Come on, don't be shy. That's not really helped, has it? I don't know. I mean, they must be good, right? It's GW.
Well, this is where Beastmen are going. What do you think?
I'm going blue.
The fact that Beastmen are still around at all should please you. Because they look kind of like Beastmen, but they've got like beaks, haven't they?
I mean, I have 30 unpainted gores, so perhaps I could just paint them blue and then call them Zangors. So
I don't see why not.
Yeah, what they got? They got 2 wounds. They got 5 up save. They've got a decent move.
Yeah, let me just see, because I think they probably only have 1 of these weapons. 6 more models. Each unit fights with a variety of weapons. So some of them have Savage Blade, 2 Savage Blades, Great Axe, and Vicious Beak. They're all going to have, obviously, which wounds on a 6. How embarrassing is that? The Vicious Beak attack, that's just there for comedy, surely. But the Savage Blades and the Great Axe, yeah, they're all right. These are just your bog standard dungeon monsters, aren't they, really?
Right.
But they do have a couple of special rules. So that the Arcanite Shield, roll a dice before allocating a wound or mortal wound to a model that has this shield, and roll of a 6, it's ignored. So it's a ward save, basically. So that's pretty good. Anarchy and Mayhem, roll a dice before this unit piles in. Add 1 to the roll if the unit is within 9 inches of any Arcanite hero from your army. And add a further 1 if the unit has 9 or more models. So that's not too many. If the result is 4 or more, you can add 1 to all wound rolls for the unit in that combat phase.
Now, Andy, do you envisage these coming out in their own little battalion box set, maybe? Like each battalion?
Well, my personal view on it is that all these races that we're seeing for the first time, or these tweaks on existing races that we're seeing for the first time in Warhammer Quest, are just a little teaser of what's going to come later when they release a full Fire Slayer-sized selection of miniatures for each range. So I think the Beastmen could end up looking exactly like this, and they'll have their own little release. Would you be satisfied with that? If this is the aesthetic for the Beastmen, would you still be Beastman for life? Would you still be dancing around that herdstone?
Yeah, always. I wish they'd brought out a herdstone model. You know, that would have been cool.
Pretty tasty. Moving on. Carrick Acolytes.
These look tasty.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they are. They look like just zentrified humans, don't they?
I like the guy in the front and the guy at the back right. They're like opening their arms out. You know, maybe they're just flashing or something. Or
A little bit of a kind of Egyptian warrior kind of vibe, haven't they?
yeah. What's going on with their heads? Their heads turn into horns.
Well, shall we see if their description fills us in a little bit here? Let's go for the little narrative part. Marked by the changer of the ways for their cunning and devotion, these warrior cultists fight with blade, sorcery, and terrifying zeal. They are the chosen mortal warriors of Zinch, and with the proper chants and rites, they are able to combine their gestalt magical might before unleashing it in crackling bolts of unnatural flame. Well, that didn't really tell us too much, did it? But they are the mortal warriors. 6+ save, any 1 wound, these ones. They do have a missile weapon, though. So there you go, a sorceress bolt. 12-inch range, 5+, 4+. So it's something to be chucking around. And in melee, they're either going to have the cursed blade, 2 cursed blades, or the cursed glaive. The glaive, of course, probably has some kind of special rule in there, does it? Let's see. Armed with a single cursed blade. I don't really see any bonus for the cursed glaive here. It just has rend, I suppose. That's the only benefit to that one. Pair of cursed blades just makes you hit on a 3 instead of a 4. So, again, just your standard troops that you're going to run into and be cutting down hundreds of them probably in the Silver Towers.
Yeah, I like it.
Blue Horrors of Zinch. Now, these, of course, have been in Warhammer for a while, but these are tasty new sculpts with extra long tongues by the looks of it.
All right, so let me get this straight, Andy. So you start off as a blue horror, and when you die, you turn into a pink horror.
Well, oops. Let's see if we've got the others. Well, we've got Brimstone Horrors here.
Wow.
So this is what their final form will be. I believe it's pink horrors first, then blue horrors, then Brimstone Horrors. If you look at the size of them, that makes sense.
Pink, blue, and then that. I like those fire things. You could like stick them on some fire slayers, like they're just like burning up.
Yeah, they're like flaming nerdlings, aren't they?
Yeah, I like them. You do all sorts of stuff with them.
Anyone who's into your flame effects painting, that would be pretty tasty indeed, I'm sure. So let's just go back to the old, Blue Horrors of Zinch. So they've also got a ranged attack after you were saying nothing shoots. 14 inches.
Wow.
4+, 4+. So they're interesting ranged troops there. Of course, their special ability is split. So if unit of pink horrors suffers any casualties, they turn into blue horrors. And so on. But these are the ones I want to look at. Graz Scuttlings. If this is the future of goblins, I would say it's a bright future. If you want to make goblins unique, this was the way to do it.
They look, I don't know, they look kind of silly, but they're funny.
I assume you've seen the film The Fly.
Yeah.
It's like a goblin stepped into one side of the machine and a spider also went in there. And what came out was this hideous monstrosity.
You can't help feeling sorry for them, can you? I mean, you can almost ride on the backs of them.
Maybe halflings could ride on them as well.
Scuttling slaves.
And what do you know? They also have bows.
Wow, I bet they can't shoot very high, can they? Like, shoot for your feet.
16-inch range. 5+, 5+, though. So they're very much like regular goblins, or grots as they've been renamed. Let's see what kind of bonus they have, though. So they have webs. If a unit of Graz Scuttlings has 5 or more models, your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls they make against it in the combat phase. Okay. I believe the netters have something similar to that. So it'd be like having built-in nets on them, which is nice. I can dig it. Then we've got Skaven Death Runner, so Skaven represented here.
Yeah, they look good. They look good. I haven't had any Skaven models since 1980, 987, 988, something like that.
I haven't had any Skaven models since the original Warhammer Quest.
No, I had a Warp Fire Thrower team. Yeah, they're pretty cool metal figures. So when I get this box, I'm going to delve into these guys.
Tasty, tasty indeed. Then we've got the Gaunt Summoner and his Chaos Familiars.
So this is like the main man, right?
Or the main woman. People have speculated. I couldn't really tell from the picture what it's supposed to be, though.
I think they're sexless, really.
Yeah, they could well be. So let's look. I mean, I'm not going to read too much of this because it's a little bit blurry and it'd take too long, but 5 wounds, pretty standard. I would imagine it's just the same as the regular Gaunt Summoner. But of course he has Familiars, which, there they are.
It won't cost you 25 quid, will it? Or how?
It certainly won't. Maybe if you won it on eBay. Let's have a look at this bit about the Familiars at least. The Gaunt Summoner is accompanied by 4 Chaos Familiars, Tweak, Slop, Blot, and Pug. Whenever the Gaunt Summoner is set up or finishes a move, place each surviving familiar within 1 inch of him. And the range from the Gaunt Summoner can be measured to his own model or any of the familiars. Interesting. So you can basically remove them instead of wounds on him, pretty much. It looks like they have their own little rules as well. Tweak, add 1 to the hit rolls for the Gaunt Summoner's Warp Tongue Blade when he's around. Slop, your opponent must subtract 1 from the save rolls of enemy models that are within 3 inches. Okay. Blot, add 1 to the casting rolls for the Gaunt Summoner as long as he's accompanied by Blot. And Pug, your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls that target the Gaunt Summoner in the combat phase. Wow. So he gets little bonuses for each of these familiars, which is a nice touch, isn't it?
Yeah, look at he's got a 3+ to hit. So that would give him a 2+ to hit if he's got familiar near him. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's still only got 1 attack.
Yeah.
So he's all about the casting, really.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, his name gives it away. He's the summoner.
What does he summon?
Anything. Anything that says it can be summoned, he can summon it. He's a wizard, chaos, Gaunt Summoner, all those keywords. So anything that says a wizard can summon this, he can summon it. So a lot of summoning going on. Also, he's got this Infernal Flames ability. It's a spell. Cast on an 18 inches, roll 1 dice for each model in the target unit. The unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each roll of 4 or more. And then 3 or more for each monster or war machine in the target unit. So he's just setting fire to monsters and war machines, pretty much.
I've got a good idea for a Gaunt Summoner spell. Surely they should do some kind of summon Doppelganger. So they do like a mirror image of the hero, the enemy hero, you know? And you have to fight yourself. It could be fun.
Yeah, that's something that's come up a lot over the years in various fantasy realms, isn't it? Now, before we finish off on this, I've got something to put to the audience. Audience members, if you would like to suggest a familiar, possibly based on Warhammer YouTube personalities, if you like, they don't have to be, a familiar that a summoner could have, a name and a little bonus that they get from it.
I think
funnier the better.
Vince Venturella would make a nice familiar.
I think he would. What bonus would he give you?
Helps your models get painted faster or something?
+1 to painting rolls.
No, what can he do?
Well, let's leave that to the audience.
Okay.
Brimstone Horrors of Zent here. Only 1 wound, so they get really weak when they get down to this stage, but by destroying them, they're becoming greater in number. So that's fun. And they split again. Yeah, if a friendly unit of blue horrors suffers casualties, they turn into these suckers. So this is a new thing because it used to just be the 2 levels of horror that would split. Now they have this 3rd stage.
Right, so just a quick question about the game, Andy. So, how do you roll for the bad guys? How does that work?
Well, there'll be 1 person controlling the enemies, from what I know.
Oh.
Or if there's not, then I think it's whoever's turn it is will just roll for them.
So if it's like, if I'm playing you, It's not the fact that we have a character each. Is it like you have a character and I control the Gaunt Summoners forces?
Well, from what people were telling me, let's just stop this screen share for a minute because we're finished with that for the moment. So, from what people were telling me, when someone was demonstrating the game to them, I think that person was then controlling the monsters and they were being the heroes. Whether that is how the game works or whether the monsters can just operate on their own, I'm not sure. But if anyone who's played it could possibly fill us in with that one, whether the monsters have any kind of artificial intelligence or just a method that they would behave by. So let's see what people have been coming up with for the familiars. Rhino of Pleasure wants a newbie familiar, but he doesn't say what it actually does. Well, I would make a suggestion for the newbie ability, for Mr. YouTube newbie. Once you've already cast a spell, with him being a master of spam, obviously, if it fails, you can just keep attempting to cast it over and over again, as long as he's within 1 inch. Dino Titan Edition, a Remilia, which I think is a Remington familiar, adds +1 musician. An Andy Lith adds orange colour to the Zangors.
I like the MC1 gamer familiar. Disables points on the game in the game on a 2+. Or perhaps maybe you're able to summon anything.
Summon anything you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mr. MC1 Gamer would be too pleased with that ability. Drunken Deer says a magic chicken. It's foul magic. Get it? Foul. Can be thrown 18-inch radius and unbind any spell once per game. I think he just wanted to make the foul magic joke. I'm not sure he really had an ability in mind for it. The Stronghold, Remington Seal. Half seal, half Remington with a razor-sharp bite and a beguiling song.
I like it. An elite unit, that.
Remington Navy Seal, perhaps. Let's see. I think those are all the suggestions we've had. So, we're going to go on to the most important part of the show, which I'm just preparing now. And here we go. That's right, it's time for your weekly Cheeks update. So, as you can see, a little more has appeared on the funding, some more backers. And a new stretch goal tree has opened up this week, which I'm going to show to the people now, because it's funded sufficiently so that that batch of them have been unlocked. The next batch, including Judy the Judge, has come and gone. And now we're onto this tree, where we can unlock some more defense cards. The Stinky Seed, which you can stash in somebody else's cheeks and stink them out. -1 seed value on that one. We've got the Mysterious Hamster Baked card, which is currently awaiting artwork. We'll add in another golden seed when it gets to that point. And then this is the one people have been salivating over. Hamstar the Hamdroid, a robotic hamster, which looks suspiciously like a hamster who's just squashed inside a fake robot suit. What do you think of that?
Yeah, what ability does that one give you?
Well, some of the abilities are still up in the air and require further playtesting, but the one that's currently in mind for the Hamdroid is something along the lines of does not compute, which it will be whenever there's a tie in combat, then he will just automatically win.
Okay.
Because he can't handle like the state of it being a draw.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be a pretty tasty addition. I say if we reach that, but I think we should definitely get at least to this point.
So how do you get that card? Do you have to pledge to it?
Well, people who pledge will just get the game, which will contain this card if the overall funding reaches £3,000. Because obviously each new piece of artwork that goes into the game costs more money to create, to pay the artist for a start, and to create more cards, it costs more. So the higher the funding goes, the more cards can be made and put into the game, which will go to everybody.
Cool,
so the higher it goes, the more cards you'll get in the game for the same price.
Ah, see. So when you buy the game, how much is it going to be retail?
Well, I'm not 100% on that yet, but it'll be slightly more than you'll be paying on Kickstarter. That's how it usually works with these things.
Yeah.
So, for example, here it's £16. So I don't know, maybe if you were to buy it on a website later on or from an event, maybe you'd have to pay 20 for it.
Yeah.
So you get a nice little discount. And also there are some that are unique. Some of the cards are unique to Kickstarter backers as well. Let me just check. I think one of them is one of the ones that's already been unlocked. I think it might be, I'm not sure if it's the lawyer. One of the cards that's come out already definitely is a Kickstarter exclusive there. I'll have to look into that and clarify next week. But of course, the T-shirts, the baby outfit, which one person has actually already confirmed that they're buying one of those
Cool.
for their baby. And of course, who would go anywhere without the Cheeks gamer or baby change bag?
What's the biggest pledge you've received for it?
Well, the biggest pledge has been at the £150 pledge levels, where people have been coming up with their own idea for a hamster.
Wow.
We had to actually create a second batch of those because they went so fast. So 3 of those have sold so far. And there's another one sitting there just waiting to be claimed if you've got a crazy idea for a hamster that you just can't live without being in Cheeks.
That's fantastic, Andy. Well done. So when does it, when do you think people will have it in their hands?
Well, you will see here, estimated delivery, December 2016. So we would hope that people would have it before Christmas.
Well, time flies, doesn't it? It's only 5 months away, 6 months away.
It certainly is. 16 days to go on the campaigns. I'm hoping we can unlock a few more things.
But speaking of days to go, it's only a few days left until Total War Warhammer. And I nearly bought it yesterday. $39.99, and you get the Chaos Warriors with that. I was tempted to do it, but then I just checked the specs of my computer. I don't think my computer can handle it.
Well, I think my computer's just going to be able to handle it, but not on very good settings. However, I have been looking into the possibility at some point in the future of upgrading my PC, though. So that's something I'm definitely keeping in mind. I'm sure I'm going to get it. I just won't be running it on the highest settings just yet, definitely.
Yeah.
Because my computer is about 6 years old now. I was really pleased when I first got it because suddenly all the new games I was able to run them on high settings instead of medium settings. And certain games that came out around 2008-ish that were really demanding on PCs, I was suddenly able to run those at high settings. And it was like a whole new world opened up for me.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to save up for a house deposit, but I don't know whether to buy a new computer now.
Just for this game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Should I buy it? What if it doesn't run properly? It says I need this super duper graphics card, and I don't know what mine didn't match the name of the one that they wrote there. So,
well, if you know nothing at all about PCs, I'm sure there are either audience members that can give you some advice, or I can put you in touch with a couple of people who know their way around.
Power, or do I just change the graphics card?
Well, you would think just changing the graphics card would be enough under some circumstances, but if one component is far better than all the others, then the rest of them can kind of drag it down, if you know what I mean. So it can't operate at its full capacity if it doesn't have the right power supply and the right RAM and everything.
Yeah.
So very, very complicated. One thing I'm going to say about Warhammer Total War, actually, in the last few weeks, they did announce, one of the things people were really displeased with was that Chaos were originally just going to be for people that pre-ordered the game. Yeah. And people got really cheesed off with that, because obviously people don't want to pre-order necessarily. They want to wait and find out if the game's actually good and bug-free before they buy it, don't they?
Yeah.
So what they did, I believe it's the first week. If you buy the game after release for a week, then you will get Chaos as well. So it's not just for pre-orders anymore. So if you want to wait a few days after it's released and then look at the early reviews and find out whether it's a horrible glitchy mess or whether it's the most amazing thing ever, then you can decide to buy it and you would still get the Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, for the first 2 or 3 months, there's bound to be, updates and glitch fixes, isn't there? Always is with these things.
Well, no matter how much playtesting you do, as soon as it's unleashed on hundreds of thousands of people, someone's going to find something. Someone's going to input some combination of commands that you just never came up in playtesting, and they're going to find something that goes wrong, aren't they? That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. It does look a cool game, man.
It certainly does. Do you know what else looks cool?
What?
Golden Demon entries.
Oh, wow. Let me have a look.
And a couple of friends of the show had some rather fetching entries in this year's Golden Demon, which we're going to look at right now.
So this Golden Demon, it's the whole country, is it? Or is it like regional?
It's the whole country. Now, first of all, you may recognise these as Mr. Pezapoo's Stormcast Eternals.
Wow. Pezapoo.
So he entered, and for these Stormcast Eternals, he actually got a finalist pin.
What? What? So how many finalists are there? Is it like top 3 or something?
I'm not sure exactly how many finalists there are, but it basically means that we think it's good enough so that we're going to take it over to this other area or something and put it on display with all these so people can then look at the final ones and judge out of those ones which is the best. Just eliminating all the riffraff early on, essentially.
I mean, you can't see from that picture, but on the blue bits of Pez's Stormcast, he's done this really nice glittering star cosmos effect that looks really, really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the best picture, but I'm sure if you go on Facebook around somewhere, there'll be nice pictures of them. Or if you look at his YouTube channel as well, I'm sure he's covered them in video at some point.
Andy, there's different categories, right? Is it like single model, monster, regiment?
Yes, they do break it into categories like that.
Right.
We're going to be focusing on the Age of Sigmar related ones, of course. But not only that, Mr. Pezapoo also entered some other miniatures in there. These ones didn't get finalist pins. So there's his Archaean.
I think that's better. I do. That was superb, this one.
Well, maybe there was just a lot more competition in the big monster category.
Oh, I see. Well, that was superb. That one. He was one of the first people to finish this and put it online as well. Really good.
It's a pretty sweet paint job. Then he's got his Vandus Hammerhand as well, which he entered. Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we've seen that live on the table. That's a pretty tasty one.
I remember him getting smacked round the head by one of my Minotaurs. It's quite funny.
And this guy as well. Now, this is Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, isn't it?
Yeah, this is great, man. I like this one.
That's pretty tasty. Nice pustules going on there. Now, in addition to Mr. Pezapoo, also, last week's guest, Amy Snuggs, entered a few models. She said she was going to enter 2 categories, but she actually ended up entering 3 categories, and let's have a look at the results of that, shall we? So, finalist pin for her Fireslayer.
Wow, well done, Snugsy.
On her first ever attempt at Golden Demon as well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And we were talking about those what they're called, brimstone horrors or something. I imagine she could do some really nice flame effects on them, couldn't she?
Oh yeah, big time.
So yeah, we've seen that guy on the show before. Very tasty. Finalist pin.
Yeah, wicked. She's
Liberators, and what's that? Another finalist pin.
Wow. Yeah, beautiful, man.
Yeah, she was on a bit of a deadline to finish these. If you remember last week, she hadn't quite finished them all yet.
Do you have to put them on the kind of one of these blocks?
I don't think you have to. It makes them look a bit nicer, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Is it real gold as well?
The pin?
Yeah.
I would suggest not, but it might be.
Ah.
I would seriously doubt it, though.
Okay.
So we saw these last week, and we know how tasty these are. There are more detailed pictures as well on Facebook, on Amy Snuggs Painting, I think it's called. If you want to have a look at there. And her third entry, Archaean, and what's that? Another finalist pin?
Wow. Well, this model was featured in Warhammer Visions or in White Dwarf? It's featured in something pretty cool.
So 3 finalist pins at the first attempt. 3 out of 3.
That's amazing.
The Fireslayer, she just confirmed in the chat there, was a last-minute decision to enter.
Nice.
So, I mean, look at this Archaean there. That's some pretty next-level stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Wonder what the winners were like then.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I've actually got over here the overall winner of the Slayer Sword, which was this.
What? Is it the Slayer Sword? That's like the first prize then, yeah?
Yep, this is like the ultimate winner from every category combined gets the Slayer Sword.
Wow.
As far as I know.
Yeah, can we go close up on this?
Well, there are pictures floating around on this of this miniature all over Facebook, but this is a fairly decent one, I suppose.
Look at that sea base. It's amazing.
The one thing that strikes me about all models that tend to win these things, they use a lot of techniques that I have no idea how to start doing. All these different color gradients and staining that goes on, and all these different highlights. You can see how it goes from one color to another, with the different highlight on it, and little specks of certain colours in particular places that I would have no idea where to start applying any of those.
Yeah, it's just superb. And also, I noticed there's always a little bit of conversion work, isn't there? It's not just the basic model. They've put in the the port side of a boat.
Yeah, if you add your own little spin on things. Little nerdling sitting on the front there. I'm not sure he's quite a king of the world in that position, though.
This guy always seems to survive, doesn't he? Gutrot Spew. He always gets in, in the fluff. You really want him to die because he's really a rotten character, but he always managed to get away. Maybe with a couple of his tentacles hewn off in the process, but he manages to get away every time.
And apparently, in the chat, it was just said that the painter of this particular model went by the name of David Soper, apparently.
Wow.
So, pretty tasty.
Yeah, man.
And there are lots of pictures all over Facebook. I think Beasts of War had an awful lot of pictures. If you want to have a look over there, some of the winners in particular are worth looking at. They're very, very, very tasty indeed, as they must be if they defeated some of the Friends of the Show entries that we just showed you.
And they receive an actual sword.
The winner of the Slayer sword does receive a sword, yes. So if they come in from another country, that can be quite a hassle getting it on a plane. As you can imagine. Have you ever tried to board a plane with a sword, Mr. Remington, in your days of crazy adventuring all over the world?
Say again, sorry. Someone text me then. I missed it.
Dear. Have you ever tried to board a plane with a sword?
No, I haven't. I haven't. So could there be people just... going to award around the world, just, what I mean, submitting the same thing?
Well, I think you're not allowed to submit the same thing in multiple Golden Demons, as far as I'm aware. But some people just go nuts and paint a million models in a really short time, don't they?
Sure.
Now, here's something else. This is where Mr. Ronnie Dodd, the winner of the competition earlier, the What the Hell Is That, is going to be able to help us with. There we go. The Golden Weasel. That's right, folks. We are launching the Andy Rem Show Golden Weasel Painting Awards. So if you keep an eye on the Andy Rem Show Facebook group over the next few days, I'm going to be posting a variety of unique and inspired categories. And if you have miniatures that you've painted that meet the requirements for that category, then you can enter them. And we will be choosing the winners next week. And Mr. Ronnie Dodd, we're going to ask him to help us select the winners during the week as well. He's going to be able to cast his vote along with ours.
Yeah, that's top, man.
To give you an example of one of the categories right now, just to give you a little flavour, one of them will be Best Beard. There you go.
Best beard. No,
it's not just going to be about single miniature or monster or unit of troops or anything or vehicle. It's going to be Best Beard. That's an example. We're going to have a few other crazy categories.
I like it. Biggest nerd? About
that. If someone has painted a giant nerd, then yes, certainly. So let's stop the old screen share right there. So, Mr. Remington, have you ever entered any painting competitions?
No, never before. I don't know. I think my painting's good, but I wouldn't say it was award-worthy.
Well, do you know what I think? I think that over the course of the next year, we should aim to enter a miniature, at least each, in Golden Demon.
Bloody hell. Yeah, but I mean...
Even if it's terrible, you can still technically enter.
Maybe. I mean, I like my... God, my name's just gone out of my head. What's the guy on the Wyvern called? That was...
Azhag.
Yeah, I did a good Azhag, I think. Maybe I could get into... maybe I could get shortlisted. Something. Yeah,
I think that's a good idea, though. We should aim for that. Try and go down to Warhammer Fest next year. Enter the Golden Demon.
What do you do? Do you just, come down with your miniature and just, put it on a table? And then walk around for a bit? What happens?
Well, I think that's pretty close to what you do, as far as I know. Well, we can ask some of the people that actually entered this year.
Yeah. And did they get any freebies from this Warhammer Fest?
Well, we'll have to ask the people. Anyone that went to Warhammer Fest, let us know if you got any sweet swag just for attending, included in your ticket price that wasn't a purchased extra. But it did look pretty tasty. Unfortunately, I was unavailable to attend this year because I had previously arranged to go to a Kings of War tournament on the Saturday, and then the Sunday was the final day of the football season. So who would possibly line up a wargaming event on that day? That's just crazy. Silly, silly people indeed. This weekend, I've got the Mantic Open Day to go to, which is going to be fun, which is going to be immediately after we have our Battle Report filming day, which is going to be pretty damn tasty indeed. And we're going to be using your armies this time, aren't we, exclusively?
We are. Have you got any preferences?
Yeah, anyone out there? Which armies would you like to see of Mr. Remington's in a Battle Report? Do you want to remind people what you've got?
I've got Beastmen, I've got Ogres, I've got Orcs, I've got Wood Elves, I've got Dark Elves, I've got Halflings, I've got enough Chaos stuff maybe to field a small force, and I have Dwarves as well.
So get your votes in now. And you mentioned Halflings, and we haven't even had time this week to look at the new Halfling War Scrolls that the Halfling Project came out with, because it's been so packed with red-hot sizzling content all around the world of Age of Sigmar with the Silver Tower malarkey going on. So we'll have to delve into that next week unless we're flooded with further information of the juicy goodness. So I think it's going to be about time to start wrapping this one up, isn't it, Mr. Remington? We've been going for over an hour now.
It is. I think it's high time you sang a song, isn't it, really?
People were exposed to my singing for 2 consecutive weeks, and I think their eardrums are still recovering. So,
Are there any songs with silver in them? In the chorus or something?
well, there's that song about silver linings, isn't there?
Well, hi ho, silver lining in the sky.
You think you can play that one, Mr. Remington?
Okay, let me see.
Actually, Drunken Deer just said, please God, no, when you suggested that I sing.
Hi ho, silver tower. Hi ho, silver tower in the sky. I know it's hi ho, silver tower, and the price is high, but not so bad. It's affordable if you go to Asylum Wargaming. Hi ho, silver lining in the sky. Don't forget to quote Andy's discount code when you make your order. And if I say it enough times, you go Remington and you get an extra 5% off. But that's not technically in motion just yet. It's in the sky. I said, hi ho, silver lining, Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Andy Palooza.
Remington.
Don't forget to like the video, leave a permanent comment.